Humans are awful. I spent the first almost 20 years of my life dealing with them. I can't believe it took me this long to realize that everyone sucks and I don't want to talk to them. If you can't tell, I am fresh off the heels of a particularly bad interaction with a few people. I'm not gonna go too in depth. But then it just made me realize I hate everyone. They are representative of this the sample of the population of all of humanity. I cannot talk to anyone. I've been trying, I just can't. And it's like my brain is not on the same level as everyone else. My brain goes to many other places that don't fit the social context of the situation just really ever. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what these people expect out of me. I try to make I try to be as aware of the social context as possible. Like, for other people, it's just a skill. It's just something that they'd understand. They know how to read the room. I just can't. I make a very strong, active effort to do so. Like, oh, we're in a classroom. We act casually. We don't say swear words. And then in WhatsApp, we use these different words and use shortcuts. And it's not only that I don't understand the social context, it's the response to the social context. And then it's the specific vocabulary that everybody uses. This video is just a realization that I've been off in my own world for like this whole time. I also have a hard time just fitting in. I don't easily insert myself into friend groups or into conversations. I am actually kind of scared of doing so, but I think that deserves a spot in its other video. The other main point that I wanted to make with this topic specifically about hating humanity, it's not really about hating humanity or like having this internal rage that makes me want to shoot up my campus or anything. It's not to that extent. It's closer to like it was hate. It was hatred. It was rage. And then it was mere dislike. And I'm making this video during the acceptance phase. I've accepted that I hate humanity and I just shouldn't bother with talking to anyone. The second that I tried to enter into my college life, I was immediately met with alienation. And to be fair, it was just because I didn't know how to present myself. I didn't understand, should I talk formally with my other students? That didn't work. They thought I was weird. And then I accidentally talked informally to a professor. And I had to actually sit down at his office for like an entire hour for him to lecture me personally on how to do social etiquette and talk to people on WhatsApp properly. Like, you should have used these words. I was like, I didn't know. Like, I would have used those words if I knew, but I didn't. He blamed it on culture. Like, I was from West Java and I'm currently in East Java. That was not the issue. The issue was I'm a weird guy. I've been weird my entire life. I feel like maybe a big reason why I've been alienated and never been able to connect with anyone was because I was migrated to England when I was young. That gave me, that made me mute. There's a disorder out there that there's a low chance for a child whenever they migrate, they become mute. And that was me. And it was during the developmental years of my life where I learned how to speak and my brain was developing. My brain was very late to that because I was mute. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't have practice talking to anyone. I didn't know how to converse. And that just haunted me for the rest of my life. When I came back to Indonesia, I was still shy. I barely made friends with anyone. I was kind of lonely, except for the fact that I was forced to have friends with someone else, and I was friends with all the weirdos. They had some of them I could self-diagnose with autism, but no one really knew, like, mental disorders weren't really a widespread known thing. So if you just had autism, the other children would have just thought you're stupid or you're weird. But I liked hanging out with them just because they also didn't understand the social context and was open to talking to me. And I was, again, cripplingly shy from my mute days, so I didn't talk to anyone. But they were open. And, I don't know, some of them were interesting people, but most of them were just kind of obnoxious. That was not at all the point that I was trying to make. Whenever I talk to someone, they have that face. They have that face of complete confusion of what I'm talking. They scrunch their face up, and I've seen it so often, it's burnt into my memory. I feel like it's because whenever I try to say something, they don't understand why I'm saying it. And it's first because of social context, and second because the things that I'm talking about never seem to make sense to anyone. My father told me to practice, but it's like, I'm talking to people, but nothing seems to change. So yeah, I've accepted it. Whenever I'm in like a Zoom call and I try to explain my point, they're just like, oh, okay. And then I see the same person talk to everyone else that's in the Zoom call. And they're like, oh, that's interesting. And then they ask a question back. But to me, any reply is always just silence. I don't know. I mean, the only way I can prove this is just like having a conversation with a normie, with a ryaju. Because my close friends, they half understand what I'm saying sometimes. Like sometimes they would still be like, what the hell are you on about? And I mean, yeah, that's why I have to accept this. I have to accept this flaw because these friends are like people who've known me for years, for ever since I was in my childhood. And they still don't reply to everything that I'm saying. I'm just a manic guy. Words are a weapon that my mouth utilizes. And I don't know, my brain just is not connected to my mouth properly, and I don't know what to say sometimes. The whole process is just like my brain comes up with an idea, something to say, but sometimes the thing that I want to say is not very clear, just like a vague idea of a thought, and then it has to link up with my mouth, which then has to work with the motors that are in my tongue and my lips, which, as I've said before, has not had enough practice because as a child I was mute. I didn't use my mouth much. So often I would get myself stuttering, pausing, kind of like right now, I suppose. And all of that is in full display whenever I talk to someone. Whenever anyone just like doesn't reply to me or doesn't understand what I'm saying, I'm just like, okay, this is a problem that I've had for a long time. It's just not gonna get fixed. I'll just let people be confused and, I don't know, never understand me. I don't know how to express myself. I don't understand what their worldview is, so I don't know how to fit myself into said worldview. I'm just gonna be stuck in my own little bubble forever. And yeah, I've lost my humanity. I've lost the feeling to want to have a connection with other people. I understand humans are like social creatures, and this video is the declaration of me saying I want to cut that part of my humanity out of myself. I don't have to talk to other people. I don't have to be joyful or happy whenever I have a conversation with someone else, because if I want to suck up to other people, they would just end up disappointing me, because no one is me. That's really, I guess, the whole idea of individuality and how everyone is different, and that's good. I'm saying no. Everyone is actually a hive mind, and I'm just out of it. So yeah, I feel like I did have something else to say, but I've got my main points across. I am declaring that you don't need to talk to other people to have a happy life. Humans generally are social creatures, but I really don't want to have that part in my life anymore. I'm done. Thanks for listening.